You know, my dad was superintendent at the Lyman Boat Works all his life. He worked there. He came to the United States in 1925, and I was born in 26. And he worked, when he first came here, he built houses in the eastern part of Sandusky for a contractor called Winners. And then
Speak loud, Dad.
he worked there for a year, and then he came home and went to work for Ricky's, which is a boatyard down on Main Street, from Main Street there. And he worked there for a while, and it was hard work. He hurt his back, so he left there, and then he left there, went to work for Lyman. Lyman came to the United States, came to Sandusky in 1940, no, what's it, 19 something.
25 or so, 26.
Yeah, 25 or 26. He came there, and Dad went to work for him at that time, right, and he worked for him ever since. And of course, being that he did work there, I had gone into the service in 1944 to 46. When I graduated, and I went to University of Michigan to take naval architecture and marine engineering because my dad was a superintendent at Lyman, and I thought, well, I'll probably go back to work there and build and design and build Lyman's, which I did. I worked there for 26 years. I designed 26 different hulls. The biggest one was a 35-footer express cruiser, and that was a dandy. Really a dandy boat, you know. And while I was there, I composed a table of all composition offsets and factors and criteria so that I could put them all together and design any size Lyman that I wanted. And it would always come out to be the same performance, you know, a real good performing Lyman with all the characteristics of any other Lyman. And this I was proud of because this is my own composition, and I learned that from college because in college they have what they call a family of ships, which is the same idea. They comprise all the different factors and ratios and so forth that make that hull a good seaworthy hull. In this way, they're able to build another one just as seaworthy and have all the same seaworthy characteristics. And I did this for Lyman. I enjoyed my years there very much so. And like I say, I designed 26 hulls, and I enjoyed every year that I worked there, totally.
He took his family out every summer. We got to test the boats. So we'd
Oh,
go
yeah.
to the beach.
That was another satisfaction that I had because every boat that I designed, I got to go out and test it. Took it out and put it through its paces, you know. I remember one time I turned an outboard, 15-foot outboard, I turned it so hard that I threw the gas tank out. I had to turn around and go back and get the tank so that I could finish get home.
Is that your favorite boat?
Favorite is 26 foot.
The 26?
Yeah, 26-foot Grisette.
Why was that?
That was the best boat I built, I think, because it had so much to offer. You know, it was comfortable. It had seating room for 6-7 people. It could be built as a dinette, which it had a little refrigerator and a stove and a water tank and a toilet under the deck. And it was a nice hull. Really, I thought that was the best one they had. Really, if I was only going to have one, that's what I had. I would have. Yeah, I enjoyed, like I say, every year that I worked there. Yeah.
Well, they're nice boats. We sure enjoy them.
Absolutely.
They're nice boats, we sure enjoy them.
Oh, they are, they are.
Now, do all of you have Lyman's or
Silly.
just?
You should ask how many people have more than one. That'd be more appropriate.
Yeah, I know Chris
And
does.
a wonderful thing about it is so many people have them, and they keep them up, and they're just like new, you know. Some of those boats are 40 years old, and they're just as good as new.
Did you expect that boats to be around this many years later and we would be restoring and re-restoring, or were they meant to be used and used up and replaced?
Well, it all depends. If they were well taken care of, you know, they're gonna be around. You know, we'll still be around forever, as long as you can take care of them, you know.
And everybody
Like
taking
anything else,
classes.
You gotta,
like
you
this.
gotta take care of them, you know,
I
they
know.
won't last. But a lot of them around. I don't know if you see it, they advertise them in the paper now and then, but there's quite a few of them still around to sell. Both 26, 27, 28, 29, and 30s. 35s. They're all around yet.
What do you think was the most difficult part when you were designing or they were working on the boats? What area of the boat where they had to concentrate the most? Was there one spot or?
Well, see, I designed the boat on the drafting board, scale model, right?
Right.
Then I transferred that over to a 35-foot long, 6-foot wide drafting board that laid it out full size. And then, you know, that way I could get all the bumps out of it, get it come out just the way I wanted it. And this was always a good deal. Get a boat that you wished that it had all the features you wished you had, you know, and perform well. Then the satisfaction I had of going out and testing every boat that I built. I got to go out and I run it alongside of the coal docks. There's 100-foot length there, and I could run a speed trial with different propellers, and for 1,000 feet, and then I could determine the best drop for the best RPM and the best speed, you know, for that particular motor.
Did you change propeller sizes with horsepower?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
That was part of your design as
Sure,
well?
sure. That's what we did. That's what I determined by going up alongside the coal docks. I go up and down there with different propellers until I found
Size and pitch would be.
every proper one, the best one. Yeah.
Were the new alignments built with reduction gears, or were they all direct drive? Any reduction gears, or all direct?
They were all V8 direct, except for import outboards, of course. And yeah, otherwise they were. Yeah.
Mr. Giovagnoli, what did you think of that inboard outboard model? It was only for a couple of years, right? Was that one of your better ideas?
That was a good hull. Yeah, people enjoyed that hull, you know, the inboard outboard hull. It allowed you to go into shallow waters. You know, you could pick up the transom, pick up the engine, and travel in shallow water. It had a lot of good features, you know. Yeah, there a lot of them were built as inboard outboards. Yeah.
Here's a question for you. Going from your design into production, was that a difficult chore to do that? To get, say you changed something, was it tough to get it onto the factory floor to have it produced?
No. Fortunately, we had two good mechanics in the mold shop. They were excellent. They were, you know, primary carpenters and woodworkers. And they could take my drawings and build the mold from my drawings. They'd build the mold in, and we could build a hull over it, test it, you know,
Mm-hmm.
and change it. What you could do, you know, you could make changes if you didn't like the way it looks. It wasn't smooth, or you know, you had to have it reshaped a little bit. That was when you could do it.
How long from a new design to production would it be a year or two out? Would you start producing a new design to get it implemented for production?
It'd take almost a year. Yeah. Almost a year.
On a model that was going out of production, say from like the 25 to the 26-foot model, did you reuse a lot of the tooling from the 25
Oh,
and
sure.
that to transfer over to the 26 just with some modifications?
Sure. Yeah. Yeah, we were able to modify the mold so they could
Mhm.
make a 26 over it.
Right.
28 was pretty much the same way, wasn't it? From the 28 to the 30, they kind of stretched the mold out a little
Yeah.
bit, kept the beam about the same.
Yeah. Same thing for 35.
Oh, really?
Oh,
They took the 30 to a 35?
yeah.
The hull's the same?
Well, you know.
I mean, the length is obviously different, but the
Yeah,
beam.
but performance and all those.
Ratios would be the same.
Had,
Oh,
had
I
a,
got
you know, like a nice interior.
Correct.
You had a stand-up toilet, you had a upper and lower berth, had a sleeping facility forward, had a toilet, you know, and a stove and refrigerator. And it had a lot of nice features, you know, so you could tie up to the dock and enjoy your stay, but and plug in and have over electric current for all your electrical items on the ship.
Yeah, there's a couple of those in the club, I believe. There's at least a handful of them.
There's one out there that's being restored in Port Clinton. There was one a couple of years ago that was out east in Men or somewhere that actually burnt while it was out of the water up on blocks
Oh,
of
really?
sand. They had a fan plugged in, shorted out, burned the whole damn thing down. So there's at least one still out there.
I'm not sure if you can see it, Mr. Giovagnoli, but there's a 1935 catboat, a sailboat, one of the Lyman sailboats over there.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm curious if there was ever any discussion later on in the big outboard years, the inboard years, did anybody ever come in and say, what do you say we try and build a sailboat? Let's try that again. Was that ever a discussion that came up in the
well,
boardroom? And
they did build a larger one, called a Lyman Cat. Yeah, that was a 15-foot Lyman sailboat, and we built several of those. Sure, there was a class of them over here.
Yeah, that's it, I think, isn't it?
yeah, that's what that
There's
one
one over
is.
here.
That's the.
Yeah.
That's the.
So I know you were involved in the sailing club. So right now we have that Lyman Cat, and we have an Interlake, and we have a Thistle,
Oh, yeah.
and we're trying to make a sort of a one design, Sandusky Bay one design exhibit in the other side of the museum. So
Yeah, that's nice. That'd
you
be
guys were a
nice.
big sailing family.
Yeah,
Yeah, he
yeah.
and his brother Angie.
Yeah.
Were they interlakes? What were the sailboats you sailed on, you and Angie?
Oh, yeah, and my brother and I sailed on a Interlake. My dad built that boat for us, you know, and we sailed that, and we really promoted it. I mean, we'd sail all the places, Port Clinton, you know, Toledo, wherever there was a race for Lyman, Angie and I would go. We'd take trailer the boat and go there. Did a lot of racing. Angelo was quite a racer. He won several trophies, and that was his crew. That was his dead weight.
A lot of brotherly love on that boat, probably.
Oh,
That's the older brother, right?
yeah.
He's the younger brother and Dad's the older.
My dad built that boat for us. I mean, yeah.
Do you think that people you didn't make maybe as many sailboats because people were more interested in the power boats?
No, they built a number of sailboats. They were class Lyman Cats. I had a fleet on Moored Foot Bay. Up in the east, there was a bunch of them where they raced. You know. Oh yeah, there was a number of them that were being raced all the time.
Was your influence more in the design and geometry of the boat, or with materials also?
Both.
Like, did they change materials?
Oh
and-
yeah.
Yeah.
Sure. Some boats had teak decks on them. Some boats had interior side teak paneling. Oh yeah, they were all different. The way they wanted them, custom built.
Were some custom built for customer order, or were they built and then sold
No.
and maybe outfitted?
Some of them were built as by customer order.
Oh.
If they wanted a certain design, certain things in it,
Yeah.
they would do that.
Yeah, we had several dealers all over the United States.
And
They-
Lyman's would charge, in other words, they'd pay a third when they put the order in and you started the boat, right?
Yeah.
And then they'd pay another third when it was so far along, and then, the end when it was completed. So they had to pay it as it was being designed, because it was personally
Unique.
made for them, yeah, right.
Yeah, that's why we had a little income that way.
Yeah.
So you graduated from college, you came to down, started working for Lyman. What was it feeling like? What did it feel like when you put your first design into production
Wow,
for a
great,
young man?
great.
What did that?
It was a great feeling, especially, I got to go out and test it, and then I was so pleased when it performed real well, in any kind of conditions. Big seas, bad wind, you name it, that boat just performed perfect, in any condition. Yeah,
And which one was that? The first?
to 26.
That was the 26.
Oh, yeah, that was the best one to be built.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the most popular one too, I think.
I found a picture of not Dad, but Dad's father, my grandfather, in front of one of the speedboats, because, one of the owners was interested in the speedboats. So he was standing in front of it. I'll have to show you that. Came across it. Little by little, I come across pictures here and there. They're like all over, scattered in the house. So, I came across some really nice photos. Yeah.
Well, you always have a home for them.
Yeah, yeah, that's true.
How many 26-foot boats could you make in a week?
7.
So one a day.
One day.
And typically, was it just Monday through Friday production, normal business hours, or did you run more than one shift?
No, just one shift. Except during the war, when we were building stuff for the war, then we had 2 shifts. And that was government stuff, We built landing craft. We had a subcontract with Matthews Boat Company. We would build the transoms and the bows for the landing craft, and then ship them over to them. And then they would assemble it, the complete boat. And we had a nice experience there, long contract with them.
You just mentioned Matthew's boat. I don't know if you can see, but Bob Reynolds is standing over there from Matthew's boats.
Oh, yeah.
Scott Matthews' grandson.
Oh, sure. I know him well. Sure. Oh, yeah. Yeah. He was a layout man for Matthews. He would lay out the full-size drawings on the floor for Matthews.
Yeah, he taught that lofting class for us for a couple of
did he?
workshops and seminars here.
Board's still over there.
Think of how big of the 26 planks were we looked at yesterday. Think about it on a 42 or 50-foot Matthews. That's some serious laydown.
Yeah. Well, thanks again for coming down. I hope, did anybody have any other questions? These guys got to get back to the salt mines. They got a lot of work. Actually, I think they just replaced that whole transom today.
Oh, did
They
they?
took the transom out of this boat. And
Thank you for
Yeah.
having us come back.
Wow,
you should go down there and inspect their work. Yeah.
Pretty good job.
Jake is a great mentor over there.
So you have 2 of them here. Were they both donated, John, to?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah,
Okay.
these were both donated to the LBOA. Tom and I went up to Syracuse, New York a couple of years ago and grabbed that one. This one came from Hinckley, Ohio, down near Medina. This one's a 1952, and that one's a 1957. So this is our 3rd class now, working on these 2 boats.
That's good, because you never know, someone might be in garages or barns.
Oh, they're all-
And
yeah.
the
A bunch
sooner
of
you
them out
guys
there.
can get to them, then the less you have. Hi.
Hey, Bob, come on in. We Mr. Giovagnoli mentioned Matthew's boats, and I said, oh, well, by the way, you know Tony Giovagnoli, I'm sure, and,
Oh, sure. How are you? How you doing?
Well, I'm
You're hanging in there.
after 3 weeks of the shingles, I'm doing better.
Oh,
So I've just been tired out. But I'm okay, I'm not contagious, folks.
Yeah. I'm glad you're feeling better.
Yeah, thank you, yeah. They say it takes 2 to 4 weeks, and
Takes a while. Very uncomfortable.
week 4, so.
Yeah.
Bob ran our boat school for several years, you know, several decades, I'd say. And,
Yeah?
comes down a lot and spends time. We mentioned teaching the lofting class. The lofting class boards are still over there.
Yeah, I
From,
see them, yeah.
Oh,
so,
I'm almost tempted to get into that again.
well, I think you'd have some students that would like to learn about
You bet.
how we loft a boat.
Yeah. I'd like to do that.
How long does this class go?
It's a 2-day seminar, so it started yesterday morning at 9 to 5-ish, and then today 9 to 5-ish, and
And how many are you holding in a year, John?
we're trying to do 2 a year.
2 a year?
We're trying to do a February class and then a fall class, and it's this partnership with the Lyman Boat Owners Association, the Maritime Museum, and some sponsors that Sandusky Paint and Homestead Hardwoods, and folks that have either contributed or donated or, you know, in kind to make the classes happen. And then all these guys, of course, which we have folks from really all over the country. We have guys from Virginia and Georgia, and I don't know if you decided who was the farthest traveled. Chicago, so Texas.
Over here?
So
How about that?
Wonderful. Yeah.
the internet has done wonderful things for Lyman boats.
Yeah. Okay, we're gonna let them get back
Thanks
to
so
their
much.
class.
Appreciate it.
Okay?
Appreciate it.
Okay.
So much for coming out. It was an honor.
Thank you all for being interested in Lyman's.
Right.
You know, it
Appreciate
takes you
your,
guys to keep it going.
Yeah, appreciate your interest.